The whispers started as soon as we reached Blackwater Lake. Not actual whispers, mind you, but a chilling silence that spoke volumes. Locals called it the Silent Lake, not because of a lack of animal life, but for the eerie quiet that settled over its obsidian surface. My buddy Jake and I, fueled by youthful arrogance and a thirst for adventure, scoffed at the rumors. We were seasoned fishermen, or so we thought, and a little spooky folklore wouldn't deter us from a weekend of base bounty. The drive itself was unsettling. As we ventured deeper into the woods, the air grew heavy, the sunlight muted by the dense canopy. The road transformed into a barely visible track, swallowed by the encroaching forest. The only sound was the rhythmic crunch of tires on gravel, punctuated by the unsettling quiet of the surrounding wilderness. We finally reached a clearing, revealing Blackwater Lake in all its unsettling glory. It was unlike any body of water I'd ever seen. The surface was perfectly still, reflecting the distorted image of the gnarled trees lining the shore like skeletal sentinels. There was no ripple, no splash, no sign of life. An oppressive stillness hung heavy in the air, broken only by the frantic beating of our hearts. Setting up camp was a tense affair. Every rustle in the undergrowth, every snap of a twig sent shivers down our spines. The silence seemed to press in on us, suffocating. We tried to maintain a facade of bravado, cracking jokes and forcing laughter that rang hollow in the oppressive stillness. That night, sleep was a distant dream. The silence was replaced by an unsettling symphony of creaks and groans from the ancient trees, punctuated by what could have been the mournful cry of some unseen creature. Every creak of our tent seemed amplified, a potential harbinger of unseen horrors. Dawn arrived, greeted by a thick fog that clung to the water's surface, obscuring the depths. It was as if the lake itself was refusing to be seen. Undeterred, we launched our rickety boat. The oars dipped into the water with a heavy silence, sending ripples that dissipated almost instantly. We trolled for hours, the silence broken only by the rhythmic creak of the oars. Frustration gnawed at us. The lake, rumored to be teeming with bass, seemed devoid of life. Then a tug on my line. Anticipation surged through me as I set the hook. The fight was unlike any I'd ever experienced. The line screamed through my hands, pulling the boat with a force that threatened to capsize it. It wasn't a fish, that much was clear. Whatever it was, it possessed a strength beyond comprehension. Suddenly the line went slack. It snapped with a loud report, sending a spray of icy water across the boat. A cold dread filled me as I peered into the murky depths. A shadow, vast and indistinct, moved just beneath the surface. It was impossibly large, unlike anything I'd ever encountered in the freshwater realm. It circled the boat once, its presence a suffocating darkness, before disappearing back into the abyss. Terror seized us. We fought to row back to shore, the silence broken by our frantic gasps and the rhythmic beat of our hearts. Back on land, we packed up our camp in a frenzy, abandoning the planned weekend adventure. We fled the lake, leaving behind the unsettling silence and the lurking shadow in the depths. Back in civilization, the experience became a chilling story we shared around campfires. But the terror lingered. The silence of Blackwater Lake continued to haunt our dreams, a constant reminder of something ancient, something hungry, lurking in the darkness below. Years later, news reached us that a group of teenagers had gone missing at Blackwater Lake. Search parties found nothing but their abandoned campsite and a lone, shattered oar floating on the lake's surface. The silence of Blackwater Lake remained unbroken, a chilling testament to the horrors that lay hidden within its depths. Our experience became a cautionary tale, a whisper shared amongst fishermen. It spoke of a lake that held secrets best left undisturbed, a body of water where the silence was not peaceful, but a living, breathing entity waiting to consume the unwary. The old fisherman, Silas, sat hunched over in his rocking chair, his weathered face etched with stories the sea wouldn't dare tell. The salty breeze whipped through the harbour, carrying with it the mournful cry of gulls and the rhythmic creak of docked boats. I, a young journalist seeking a good yarn, leaned closer, captivated by the glint of fear in his cloudy eyes. "You want stories, boy?" Silas rasped, his voice rough as sandpaper. The sea holds more horrors than you can imagine, but some ain't meant for the light of day. He paused, his gaze flickering out towards the churning waves. There's a tale whispered amongst us, old salts, a story of the unmoored. His voice dropped to a conspiratorial whisper. They say it's a boat, cursed to roam the endless depths, a vessel claimed by something that lurks just beneath the surface. Intrigued, I pressed him for details. Silas took a long drag from his pipe, the glowing ember casting eerie shadows on his face. Years ago, he began, a crew of 5, all hardened men of the sea, set sail for a legendary haul. They were led by Captain Ahab, a man driven by greed and a thirst for the impossible. They ventured beyond the charted waters, lured by whispers of a fishing ground teeming with monstrous creatures. For weeks, they enjoyed an unprecedented catch, pulling up grotesquely large fish with luminous scales and razor-sharp teeth. But the bounty came at a terrible price. One by one, the crew fell victim to strange ailments. Their skin grew cold and clammy, their eyes taking on an unnatural luminescence. Soon, only Captain Ahab remained, his madness a reflection in his vacant eyes. As he hauled up another monstrous catch, a horrifying leviathan with tentacles like writhing serpents, the storm unleashed its fury. Lightning split the sky and the monstrous creature lashed out, dragging the boat into the swirling vortex. Ahab, consumed by madness, laughed as the vessel disappeared beneath the waves. But the story doesn't end there. Silas leaned closer, his voice barely above a whisper. They say on nights when the moon is veiled and the sea churns restless, you can see it. The unmoored, a spectral vessel with sails black as despair, forever adrift. The remaining crew, now damned souls, forever trawl the depths, their faces contorted in eternal screams. He stopped, his gaze fixed on the horizon. A shiver ran down my spine, the salty breeze suddenly feeling colder. I couldn't shake the feeling of unseen eyes watching from the churning water. Later that night, staying at a ramshackle inn by the harbour, I dreamt of a tempestuous sea and a spectral boat, its skeletal crew reaching out with chilling wails. The nightmare jolted me awake, a cold sweat clinging to my skin. Driven by a morbid curiosity, I ventured out onto the docks. The moon, obscured by thick clouds, cast an eerie glow on the water. As I peered into the churning darkness, a shape materialized on the horizon. A ship, its sails tattered and black, drifted towards me. Panic clawed at my throat. The air grew inexplicably cold, and a faint, horrifying scream echoed across the water. Before I could scream, a spectral figure emerged from the ship's decaying bow, its hollow eyes glowing with an unnatural light. Then, just as abruptly, the apparition vanished, the ship dissolving into the mist. I stumbled back, my heart pounding a frantic rhythm. Was it a trick of the moonlight, a figment of my overactive imagination fueled by Silas's tale? The next morning, news broke of a fishing vessel, the Reaper's Call, found abandoned a few miles out at sea. Its crew was missing, vanished without a trace. I looked at the churning sea with a newfound fear, a chilling certainty settling in my gut. The sea held secrets, yes, but some were better left undisturbed. The story of the unmoored was a terrifying reminder of the price some men pay for their greed and ambition, a chilling echo of the screams that would forever roam the depths. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more content like this. Hit that like button and let me know what you thought in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss a video.